are here through the magic of the internet in this day and age. Welcome, everyone, to folk who maybe this may be early morning for you, or maybe the early afternoon, depending on which part of this wonderful turtle island that you are calling in from today. I am so excited to speak today. We're going to give it maybe a couple of seconds for folk to trickle on in as this buffering method works. So for the folk who are here, I would love to know, both myself and my guest today would love to know, where are y'all calling in from? And what is your favorite snack? And before we do formal introductions, I'd love to know, Victoria, what is your favorite snack?
My favorite snack? Well, I think it depends on the season. Right now, I've been liking anything cool and easy. So baby carrots, maybe boiled eggs. And then I've been eating like a lot of beef jerky lately. But that's kind of like an all-season snack. So quick, easy, girl snacks. I don't know what that means, but maybe we won't go with that. What
it's
about
like
you?
It's my kind of charcuterie, though, right? Like little.
Yeah, exactly. Pickles too. Pickles, exactly. Yeah.
There's a new pickle brand. I'm not being paid to say this. I found it at Walmart. It's called Brine. I believe it's a Canadian product, and they make amazing pickles, make an amazing spicy, zesty dill pickle. So I think, actually pickles are probably my favorite. Typically, folk who've tuned in before know I am a chip fanatic, and all dressed is the superior of all flavors, specifically Ruffles, if you have a luxurious lifestyle and can afford a bag. So all dressed and different here than they are in the States. They omit the onion, which is a bit of an interesting thing. So
really?
Yeah. It's, So it's really neat to check that out. So we have people coming all in South Africa, and it has to be popcorn. Then yes, that is beautiful.
Hello.
Oh, peanut butter cups. Oh, I wonder, Anne, if you keep them in the fridge so that they don't melt on you. That will be great to know. And Michelle is here today as well. I'm going to pretend that she actually eats that they eat emojis as snacks. Would that be amazing?
Hello, Michelle, Pamela. So cool that we have Danae from South Africa. Erin, wow. I wish I could enjoy peanut butter cups, but sadly I have a life-threatening allergy. But I support your okay. enjoyment of peanut butter cups and have always wanted to try them, but I don't expect that I'll do that anytime soon.
No, we like you just the way you are. Alive. Yes.
Alive.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, darlings, as we're going to get into the topic today, as we're going through, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. And that goes for people watching the recording of this in the replay as well. Victoria and I live on LinkedIn. We will know when you leave a comment, or you can DM us, and we will make sure to make this topic sing for you. So today's topic is basically around 3 assumptions in marketing that keep the right buyers from paying attention to your nuanced solution, especially if it's highly innovative, academic adjacent, nuanced, sensitive, requires a bit more thought, a bit more explain, a bit more storytelling. So we are so thankful today to help folk with your brilliant minds that do this. Number one, your work is incredible. And then we also recognize that the work isn't done when we create our solutions and services. Then we have to make sure that the people we want to attract are resonating with what we're providing, and then in turn will use your service so you can put more good into the world. And what better person to introduce this than my colleague and associate, Victoria Cowan, incredible B2B content writer, and the number one person that came up to my mind to handle specifically these nuanced and knowledge translation, all of those good parts. So Victoria, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, that's so fun. Well, thank you so much, Alison, for inviting me to join you on LinkedIn today. We've had more than a few brain jamming sessions about complex, nuanced B2B subject matter, and I always leave feeling energized and inspired. Okay, but a little bit about me. So my name is Victoria Cowan. I'm the founder and CEO of Wordplay Creative, a content writing agency that you can rely on. Relationship focused, quality obsessed. We help marketing leaders drive results through publication-ready content without endless revisions and hand-holding, even the complex stuff. And prior to running my business, I had a very nonlinear career in post-secondary education, customer success, and community-based initiatives. So, Alison, back to you.
So you're the nerdiest of nerds. This is right where you need to be, is what you're saying.
Nerd is a compliment.
My book, mostly because I know that the folk that this is going to resonate with today are absolutely nerds in their own sectors, their own domains, and their own areas of expertise, right? And we're such nerds that we make it our life's passion to change the world for better with these nuanced and complex ideas. So I think we're all in good company here, glasses and all, and contacts and all that good stuff. So, darlings, I'm Alison K of Alison K Consulting. I'm a B2B marketer, and this is my jam. I help startups and consultancies that are putting good into the world, get that visibility, get that engagement and that resonance so that you can continue to put more good into the world. And for some silly reason, I especially love when it's nuanced, complex, or sensitive topics in nature, where it's not so much, do you want socks with dog faces on them? Have some socks with dog faces. What do we do in our marketing? When it's not that simple, when it's complex, anti-status quo, highly innovative, maybe even not in the same world of which your ecosystem has come to know. We are here to help you today with basically these three assumptions. And again, we thank you so much for your hard work. And as in the marketing space, unfortunately, we don't get the cookie for having the service on offer. We then have to take people from don't know you exist, whoop, to realizing that you are part of their world. And so we've come together to think of three top things we experience in client work that might be something you're doing as well. And thank goodness there are ways to make that easier for us to do. So I'm going to bring up the first little one that we often see, and that is using AI as a silver bullet for complex marketing needs. Huge. And we're going to try to do this in like 2-3 minutes. But Victoria, I would love your insights on this. What is going on here with this assumption of using AI as a silver bullet for complex marketing needs?
Yes. So obviously I'm going to start with this one because I have a lot to say on the subject, but again, in bite-sized marketing snack style. So unless you've been living under a rock the past 2 years, you've probably noticed the rise of Gen AI tools like ChatGPT has transformed not just marketing, but also the tech landscape. AI is everywhere. But when it comes to marketing, at least for myself, I think we've seen mixed results. Yes, these tools drive efficiency, but in my mind, they still really struggle with complex, nuanced, or sensitive subject matter. This is why, in my view, most teams simply cannot AI their way out of marketing a complex offering. They need skilled humans who understand how and when to leverage AI effectively. So, for instance, when it comes to like the academic or scientific research process, I come from an academic background, not a scientific one. My twin sister has that handled. AI, in my view, cannot be wholly relied upon yet. Though, as I say this has probably already changed. That's like the rapid pace of innovation that we're seeing in the space, especially with deep research modes in tools like ChatGPT or Perplexity. But in my mind, I do believe AI can support the research process, but it still should only occupy a junior role, akin to a human research assistant. Similarly, when it comes to marketing a complex or nuanced offering, AI needs to take a supplemental role. Which is tricky in this economy and the desire for AI to fix everything. We'll just use AI, right? It's going to save us all this money. We'll just lay off our team. It's going to be fine, right? So, but what I find is many companies struggles with the translation of their knowledge or expertise into digestible marketing assets, especially when their target audience consists of what I like to call interested non-specialists. Maybe they're not developers or engineers themselves, but we're still assuming a certain level of intelligence, but they might not be the same level of expert as you or your team are. This is where skilled human guidance is needed. So what works instead? Using AI for grunt work and routine tasks while keeping humans in charge of strategy, messaging, and quality control. In my mind, complex B2B offerings need marketers who understand both your solution and your customers. They need to understand humans. It feels weird to even say that. But so the winning approach isn't AI or human, it's knowing when to use both. What do you think, Alison?
full support, right? We are seeing emerging data, though, once you read about this, you can't not unsee it, that typically right now a lot of AI is still quite positive and geared towards keeping you on those products longer. So we'll often err on the side of positivity, that you do know what you're talking about, and because the whole point is to keep you on it longer. You're not going to engage with a product on a subscription base that tells you you're wrong. So if you are in a situation where your zone, confirmation bias for sure. So if you are if your zone of genius is not in marketing, and you're hoping that AI will actually do that. I know that a lot of marketers in the space who use AI a lot have to do a lot of prompting and a lot of retraining on their particular systems, because often what comes out, I make jokes about socks with dogs' faces on it, but often you will get some pretty Instagrammable, TikTok-y, or maybe more product to consumer service results. And that's not going to work if you're trying to if you're trying to connect with boards of directors, funders, if what you offer might take a very long sales cycle and you're not even sure at this stage. You validated what you're putting out into the world and you're selling it, but maybe you're still unsure where you fit in that space. So these are the things I think about with AI as well. Again, I agree. Grunt tasking is great, but having that triple check, and whatever it puts in front of you, make sure your whole team early on can see that work and offer feedback, which down the road may be used for some of your training pieces.
Yep. Awesome. Couldn't have said it better myself. Glad to see that, Danae. There's a bit of a lag here, but it looks like you're on board with us. So yay. Thank you. Positivity here is appreciated.
Yes.
Confirmation bias within AI operating in an echo chamber, maybe not, but we'll take it here.
Exactly. So the next one is, and I know this might feel a little bit like leading the witness or in our best interest because we specialize in this aspect of marketing, but it comes because of I do more strategic work, and Victoria's team is coming in to bring that work to life and make it tangible a lot of the time. So this is why we're going to bring this up. Defaulting to general service providers to handle nuanced marketing. Now, if I got cut off right now in the middle of this live, what I will say is I have seen teams get really disheartened when they have invested in generalists to get them started, and what they created is essentially not applicable or relevant or resonating with the audience you're actually trying to attract. And that's no shade to those individuals, but sometimes due to what you have in budget or who you have access to in your networks, you may choose a marketer who is incredible with direct to consumer. So that's when someone buys something online and it ships to them, and they're trying to apply their experience to yours, which is very different when you have long sales cycles, when you have a lot of objections that can't be met simply, or you need explainer videos, or you need to make sure the jargon's on the same page. So it can feel like you, and again, we all want to start somewhere, but when I come in as a strategist and I kind of audit what's been happening inside a team, I get it. There's a little bit of mourning there of like, we put this effort in and we really hope this person work out, but they don't get us. And it's not because they're not brilliant. It's they often are generalists in marketing. And you may at this point in time, especially if what you're offering is substantial, maybe it's at municipality level, or it's like a 10-year thing that you give, or something that's got a lot of risk involved, you may want to consider moving into someone a little bit more domain knowledge in your space, and also can understand that people are not going, we're going to get number 3. They don't look at something and come and say, yes, we absolutely want to work with your $30,000 innovation. Not going to happen. Yeah. What do you think about this, Victoria?
Yeah, absolutely. This is not meant to be disempowering to generalist marketers, because we empathize with how much marketers have been asked to do more with less over the last many years, especially if you're working in technology. We've seen like sawtooth funding cycles right now. People are getting laid off in marketing left and right. This isn't meant to make anyone feel bad, because generalists still add so much value. So I think what we're proposing is not like an either or. This is not an all or nothing type of solution. Similarly to what I said above, it's more of a hybrid approach. It can be both and, it can be phased, and it's about effective resource management, right? So if a generalist can come and be the architecture of strategy, but needs help with some of the finer details to make sure where they're putting their resources is actually going to gain traction, that's where someone like Alison can provide a lot of guidance. Or in my case, if they want to make sure that they're bringing on a content execution partner that can properly handle complex subject matter without lapsing into jargon that's not going to be intelligible to the target audience, that's where we can be an extension of what they're already doing. We see ourselves working in partnership with the marketing leaders that are currently in-house. And yeah, I think that's all I'll say on that. In partnership, we want to support each other.
And I think sometimes if you are a founder of a company and navigating hiring and team capacity is something that's new to you, I always advocate number one, hope you have a mentor to help you navigate that. And also there are lots of options in this day and age that isn't, we need an agency or we need to bring someone in-house. There are so many blended options. There are fractionals. There are people like myself who can come into your existing team and kind of fill in the gaps a little bit with some training. There are like, some folk do audits of existing content to help you get a little bit farther. So I also just want to make sure that maybe we're sold a lie that it is, you got to spend on an agency or you got to go in-house. And in 2025, that is not the case. And also, again, I'm going to put it in there, with AI disrupting a lot of the marketing space right now, darlings, you have a huge pool of resources to go through. There are wicked, awesome specialist marketers right now who would love a specific project that might help you and your team get used to working in marketing in this manner without having to go into a full audit or a full content strategy or even a full 12 piece of content engagement. So I just want to put that out there. There are options these days.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so many options. Just reach out and we're happy to refer those people. Oh no. Oh, I popped back in. There I am. Do-do-do. And number 3 is making your website the only source to learn what you offer. Oh, I can't remember who was talking about this first, you or me.
Yeah. Build it and they will come, right? Build it and they will come. So this is just like a classic marketing trope, a classic marketing problem, and it especially applies to complex offerings. I would say, especially in the B2B space, it is easy to build the website and be like, oh, okay, we did marketing, you guys, we did it. But what Alison and I are seeing is that we need to engage in the process of, well, knowledge distribution, translation. If calling it knowledge sharing is a way to wrap your head around it, as opposed to being like, we're doing marketing, then let's go with that. So for instance, LinkedIn, great place to engage in authentic storytelling, to talk about the behind the scenes of what it's actually like building your company, your product, your service, your offering. It's not a great place for generic posts lacking real substance. Again, we're seeing a flood of AI generated content into the LinkedIn space. But ideally, we're seeing founders use this as marketing leaders use this as a real meaningful space to have a dialogue. Of course, this takes some capacity and systems building, but again, it's possible to do this in a thoughtful and resource efficient way. So, Alison, my personal LinkedIn guru, I would love to hear more about what you think about the topic of when companies, consultancies make their website the only place that folks can learn about their offering.
The one question I like to ask folk is, how do they know your website exists? If they don't know the name of your company, if they don't know the name of your offer, of your solution, of your program, how are they going to know you have a website? So that's the first part. And so it's great when you know your brand name. So in the second part is one that I really like to focus, Spark Toro. They ask the question, who will amplify this and why? So it's not enough to have the content. Again, I'm so sorry. We don't win the marketing cookie for publishing. We win because it takes people who do not know we exist to go, wait a minute, you belong in my world. So LinkedIn is great from the founder level, or if you have maybe some researchers or co-creators who are seen as influencers in the field. I don't mean influencers, like, again, I think it's a great word. I think we need to stop making it a small world. Influencers are simply folk in your ecosystem who other people already trust, already like. And if you're able to make connections and collaborate with them, we call that earned media, which means you earned some media attention because you went with someone who is influential in your ecosystem. They brought you into their existing audience, and then they were able to go, well, if that person brought them in, they must be okay. They must understand our needs. It's about clout, right? It's just no less different than who you like to communicate, who you like to hang out with at trade shows or conferences or summits, right? And who do you gravitate towards? So how would they amplify it and why also helps us in that content piece, because in doing that strategy and really understanding how you fit into the world of the people whose hearts and minds you need to capture, you need to know of everything you could talk about. It often isn't the solution. It's what's happening in their world and how your solution can play a part in what their goals are. They're more likely to amplify things that make them show the progress and momentum they're making. They're more likely to talk about and share newsletters and podcasts and summits and LinkedIn Lives where they felt seen, right? So you got to, that's part of the strategic work is, I'll often hear from clients, well, our ideal audience is on LinkedIn. I go, why are they on LinkedIn though? Are they there for status? Yes. Are they there to amplify this new idea? Are they publishing research papers? Are they advocating against, we call it like an enemy? I don't mean that in terms of like combativeness, but maybe there's a juggernaut in your industry that has owned the language and owned the storytelling for so long. And you're like, no. That does not have the right lens. No. Like, they're not thinking about this component. So I think that's the key thing. And of course, this can come back to your website, but often the website is not where decisions are made. Often it's other influences. They get to know your name a little bit. It gets sticky. And when they're ready to think about you in that capacity, then they're going to check out the website. And yes, we have SEO and all these things, but the website alone doesn't work if no one knows it's there. No one can come to your birthday party, no matter how many balloons and cake you buy, if you don't send out invitations.
Yes. Or I love what Danae said in the chat. Having a website is having windows to your company, but if you have nothing else, the house is empty. So good. Yeah. Even if there are cake and balloons inside. Alison, I'll just have one thing there about, like, so obviously you're talking about earned. I am a bit more of a organic gal myself. But again, people will say, or companies will say, okay, we want to show up on search engines. We want to show up on generative search engines because GEO is a thing now. They know that, but they don't peel back the layer as to why. How do you know that your ideal customers or your target audience are turning to search engines to find information about products or services that you offer? How do you know that they actually want to engage with content that is long form written as opposed to, let's say, video, which is not my specialty? So my goal as a content writer isn't just to sell content writing services. Obviously that's part of it, but it's to make sure that what I can offer is actually a fit for their goals at a deeper level, instead of just saying, well, we know we need to invest in SEO, right? And I think the same is true with LinkedIn. Like, there has to be some level of thought and intention, not treating these items as a box to check, which is so difficult when, again, marketing leaders are being spread thin. There can be disconnects between leadership, between sales, between growth, all these different organizations. So there are challenges there, but I still think we need to, as much as possible, be intentional and thoughtful.
I love that you brought up the generative search results as well, because I'm a firm believer in a marketer that it's really hard to have absolute attribution, which means just because you bought a Google ad and people clicked through and bought does not mean that Google ads did the heavy lifting for you. They were the bouncer at the door when you decided that you wanted to go to the concert. They took the money, but they'd not necessarily have been there the whole time before. So with generative search results, what I'm seeing is clients are having success. They are saying, we are having prospects come through and say they found us through generative AI. It's almost like they're already sold. And I like to challenge that because, number one, the AI is still operating in a confirmation bias. So it's feeding them the information that they want. I think what your website, if you are seeing some traction in generative AI, coming up. You can see that in Google Analytics, for example. It will tell
Yep.
you a referral of these various sources. The question I want to ask as a marketer is, it gave them an answer and they went looking, but what made them decide to book a call? So your website is still highly valuable to deepen the narrative, to fill in the gaps, to not make assumptions of what they did. So I'm really thankful it is a channel for people to be found. I'm not giving that robot a chance to earn all the glory here, because if they're then going and leaving your website, they want to validate that what they found in their search results is key, and they could be looking for other things, right? What is your team like? What is your expertise like? Do you have any case studies? All the things that they didn't anticipate they would need to help inform a decision. So I'm really glad you brought that up, because I think it's important. We just, marketing darlings, people don't show up because of one item. Often it's sticky, and when the time is right, they come and see us, and then they're doing some validation well before they ever talk to your team or book that demo or that discovery call. Oh,
absolutely. At different stages of the funnel, there's different pieces of content that support them in feeling encouraged to reach out, right? And also, I do, just because you brought up such a juicy topic, I'm like, SEO, GEO, when it comes to the principles of ranking in both, we may still be talking about the same thing.
Yes.
But there might be someone in the chat that has way more specialized knowledge on GEO and how it works, but I'm still applying the same principles of writing high quality content. So anyways, we'll put a plug in that, because I could talk about that for a long time.
And I'm checking here to see if we have any questions. So we don't at the moment. So I'm going to put both of us on the spot for a second, just to roll out the last 3 minutes. So of all of the pieces we've talked about today, Victoria, what do you think could be one small but progressive next step that a founder or a small but nimble marketing team inside of this space could do based on what we've talked about today? And I put her on the spot a little bit, but I'm going to think about this as well, because we had some time and everyone loves to lead with action. So can you think of one small concrete step that will help get us towards ensuring that our brilliant solutions get out into the world in a way that resonates?
Oof. Okay. The step I'm suggesting is not small or concrete, but the area is important. But I'll try and find a small concrete step within that. So I think the thread of what we're saying throughout this entire conversation comes down to knowing the target audience, like knowing your customer. And so that's the area. The concrete step within this, one step that folks can take, whether they're a founder or a marketer, engage in some voice of the customer research. And that sounds like a big thing, but honestly, it means looking at reviews of your product, service, and offering, feedback you've received from your clients or customers, and finding the common threads. Yes, you can even use AI to help streamline this process for you. If you dumped all your recent, let's say Google reviews or client feedback, pieces of client feedback into AI and find the common threads, you need to understand the words and language people use to talk about your product or service. And when it comes to a highly technical or complex offering that's very smart people have created, they're often right here and they can't see the forest for the trees. And so take a step back and actually see the words and language that people are using to describe what you offer. Okay, that's my thought. Alison, I'm curious to hear what you think.
You took my thought. For any folk who have spent any amount of time with marketing snacks, I'm a firm believer in audience research. So you have market research, which is how do you fit in the world in terms of the service you offer? So when you are at a farmer's market, how are you as a peach vendor across all the other vendors inside of that farmer's market? You know, what do the people like? What are they buying? But audience research is, you're selling lemons, but are they all there for peaches? Right? So that audience research piece is key. And I think that depending on what your space is offering, ResearchGate can be a resource. Captura, which is more aimed at SaaS, but when people leave reviews of products and services, their LinkedIn, if they have client testimonials. I still not going to, number one, I'm going to say nothing beats picking up the phone or Zoom. I am serious and actually talking to folk. Although treat this as research. Honestly, this is just another way of research. It's sort of like doing some research on people where it's not about your end product. It's a little step back about what's happening in the world. Where do they see value in this? Is it a priority for them? How do they articulate it? Which may not quite fit maybe at the moment with what you're trying to do, but a marketer with experience can be able to kind of create that little bridge there. Okay, you're trying to achieve this, and the people you want to resonate with are saying this. Does it feel like this, or does it feel like that? Those kinds of pieces can be, really helpful in that way. So one phone call a month, to me, you are still further ahead than so many brands who would much rather just go on their own bias and go on the research and wonder why they're not resonating. Darlings, I hope you're going to start sending out invitations, or else no one's going to come to that birthday party.
Yeah, can't just rely on vibes, especially, or CEO preferences. So I think what we're both saying, start with audience research, then look into marketing, a more robust marketing strategy and resource allocation. That would be our suggestion there. And I think we're at time. We are at time. And yes, Danae, thank you. I feel pain points is so important. Yes. And that's why there needs to be cross-functional collaboration with sales teams as well. So, but that is a topic for another day.
It is. So, darlings, if you are interested in this, you like the cut of our jib, please follow Victoria and her team at wordplaycreative.ca. If you like this and really weird lobster lamps, then please check me out at Alison K Consulting. And the relationship here is that I collaborate with Victoria on some of these larger pieces when you have that need for strategy and some execution of content. Otherwise, darlings, thank you for putting good into the world. Thank you for all your hard work. We are rooting for you, and we look forward to seeing the change you affect, darlings. Bye-bye. Mwah.
Bye-bye. Mwah. Bye.